Good evening. My name is Tyler Guy, and today we are going to discuss the effect of submaximal push-up sets on maximum repetitions in healthy young adult men. Now, the reason why I chose this is because I think it's a little bit more interesting to perform exercise throughout the day at submaximal levels in order to increase endurance as opposed to formal gym sessions. Now, push-ups have been a traditional and common modality in order to improve muscular endurance due to the ease that they can be done and the low barrier to entry. It doesn't require any additional equipment unless you want to use like a table or a bench or an elevated surface in order to manipulate the angle in order to alter your the stimulus. Push-ups could be easily used for testing neuromuscular endurance, especially in the triceps and the chest. They have also been used in some studies in the ballistic push-ups form in order to determine your 1 rep max on bench press. As some of you already know, palmar widths are going to determine the muscle activation due to the angle of the glenohumeral joint, the shoulder. A lot of people know that if you have your hands closer in toward the midline on your chest, it's going to be a lot of tricep activation, and if you have them farther out, it's going to be a little bit more shoulder and chest. Also affecting repetition is going to be the speed that the repetitions are going to be done at. For example, if it is a faster speed, it has been found that you're going to have less muscle activation due to the speed, but you're going to be able to perform more repetitions. Conversely, if you have a slower cadence, then you're going to be able to perform fewer and you're going to have a faster time to exhaustion, but you're going to have more muscular endurance. Also related, the speed affects the joint loading, just meaning that if you're going faster, then you're going to have a little bit more friction in the elbow and the shoulder. So if you want to do it at in a safe way, you're going to want to do it a little bit slower. The purpose of this study was to determine the effects of daily multiple set efforts as opposed to a single set. I think this is important just because you're practicing the skill of strength, using that to increase your endurance. It could be physiological, neurological, it could be psychological. We don't know exactly. All we are trying to do is determine the difference between multiple sets and single sets on one maximal effort. The question that we're looking for is, are daily multiple sets of submaximal push-ups effective in improving muscular endurance over time? And it is hypothesized that yes, they will be more effective than one submaximal set. I have my own speculations. Again, you're reinforcing proper biomechanics. You're getting better at using oxygen, and your self-confidence, you could be getting better. So all these are beyond the scope of the study. However, all we're trying to do is determine one set versus multiple sets throughout the day. We picked young adult, previously trained, healthy young volunteers. The training history is especially important to standardize the stimulus. You don't want to have 5 brand new lifters who don't have any training history at all and pick 5 bodybuilders because they're going to respond in very different ways. Obviously, each of us are individuals and we're going to respond differently anyway, but you want to have people that are going to respond in somewhat of a similar way. So we opted to pick young volunteers that have been previously trained in order to somewhat level the playing field. They were assigned to a multiple set group or single set. Obviously, we had no use for a control group as we are only trying to juxtapose the multiple set versus the single set. Also, during the course of the experiment, we didn't want to have any other upper body resistance training. We didn't want to have anything that would interfere with the results. So first, we predetermined the maximum repetitions performed by each subject in a pre-test, and then we took 50% of that in order to determine the submaximal effort that's going to be used during the experiment. For example, if someone performed 20 during the pre-test, 50% of that is going to be 10. And whether it's a sub-maximal multiple set or the single set, they're going to perform 10. So, for example, on the multiple set group, they're going to perform 5 sets of 50% maximum for 60 days, and the single set is going to perform only one set of 50%. Pick 50% because it didn't seem like too high of an intensity, and it didn't seem too low, but just right in order to get some sort of stimulus out of it. And the statistical analysis was used using a paired t-test in order to analyze the results between the two groups. So we used a t-test for the pre and post for the single set group, and a t-test for the pre and post for the multiple set group. As we hypothesized, the multiple set group significantly improved by an average of 5.2 repetitions. We had 10 in each group, and this is a fairly significant improvement. Conversely, the single set group showed little to no change. As was expected, I really didn't think that performing only one set throughout the day was going to have enough stimulus in order to promote change in the individuals, only because there wasn't a demand based on the said principle. Again, the results were not surprising. However, as I mentioned before, it may be credited to improved coordination, enhanced biomechanical patterns. We also gave the subjects, we showed them how to perform the exercises correctly. We didn't want them getting hurt. We wanted them to learn how to perform movements correctly and safely in order to put the work in now as an investment in order to get greater results in the future. It also may be attributed to improved use of oxygen metabolically in order to burn the carbohydrates and fats throughout the day, getting the VO2 up, and again, psychological factors. You may be getting more confident with the movements, therefore you're getting better at it. These findings that I found, coupled with the previous knowledge that I mentioned before, with the speed and the joint loading, can aid dramatically in creating safe, effective, and time-efficient exercise programs. For example, if you don't have 2 hours to hit chest one day, maybe you could do 5 sets of 10 push-ups throughout the day. Little breaks. You know, you're sitting down doing work, and then you could just drop and do 10. I really don't think it'd be that hard, and I think it would be very doable for most people.